This is what $1,200 of long arm supplies looks like. Oh my God. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, November the 22nd, 2021, vlog number 241, and the 623rd day of COVID. So let's get right into things. Finished up my steam engine fall quilt, is what I'm calling it. I think I showed this one to you before, but it is the one that I made from a panel. And it is now completely quilted and bound, and it is now sitting on my couch in my family room. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out, but I'm soon going to swap it out for some of my Christmas quilts because we're getting there, aren't we? Christmas is not that far away, so it's getting time to think about putting out Christmas decorations. And I usually start my Christmas decorating on December the 1st. And that's next week. Yeah, next week. So, yeah, I better start getting to it, right? So I'm going to show you what that quilt looks like. I have a little video of it, and I'll stick that in right here. So I've shown you this quilt before, just as the top, but now it's completely finished. And this is what I call my steam engine fall quilt. And this was made from a panel. The pictures of the steam engines in the center of it all came from a panel. I cut them, and it was done from a pattern as well. And I had most of the fabric, or I ordered most of the fabric that the pattern called for. There was just one piece where I couldn't actually get the right fabric, but I found a substitute for it. So I've got it all quilted, it's all layered, it's all bound, it's all done. And I think it's looking pretty good. And so I'm going to swap out my Halloween quilt on my couch upstairs and swap in this quilt. And I've still been making some more Christmas items. I've been doing this since August. Can you believe that? I am well prepared, but I keep finding something else I want to make. So one of those things is a Christmas coaster. Now, these were really stinking easy to make. And I may talk about the process on the Idiot Quilter later this week or sometime later in the month. But I learned how to do these from Kim Jamison Hurst on the Quilter's Way. Every other week, we all get together that are members of the Quilter's Way for a Zoom meeting. And on this particular one, she showed us how to make these coasters. They are so fast and so easy. And this is what they look like. And you can use any fabric you wish, and they don't have to be Christmas. They could be any occasion. But if you're looking for a really quick gift to give to a host or hostess or something like that with a bottle of wine or, you know, some nice glasses or something like that, these would fit the bill. This took a whole, 10 minutes to make, maybe. It's very, very simple. And I sort of upgraded it a little bit by adding this little snowflake outline using my embroidery machine. So I've got a couple of these, and these will go with placemats I've shown you before that I did in the hoop, which are a gift for some relatives. And these are the matching coasters. I made a couple of these. And for another gift that I made, I used the same fabric to create these as well. And the beauty about these particular coasters is that, well, first of all, they're completely washable and they're reversible. Yeah, that was a happy accident, the way that turned out. So on both of these, the back looks as good as the front. So yeah, I'm really pleased with them. I may make a few more of them because they are so fast, and it's a great way to use up your scrap fabric as well. So that's some Christmas things that I have been working on. So that takes us to the YouTube channel of the week, and I have mentioned this person before. He is British. He does a lot of historical types of documentary style programs, and they're all available on YouTube. And one of his series is called Time Travels, and we've been watching that one lately because he looks at some of the various cities in Australia, and he looks at their history and what they're like today. And I've been to Australia 3 times, and I love Australia. I mean, if you don't know that by now and you've been a regular subscriber, I don't know where you've been because I talk about it all the time. And some of the cities he's talking about, we've actually been there. And I was really surprised that we missed some of the things that he talks about when we were in those cities. So I guess we've got to go back whenever we can travel again and check out them again. And that would be just fine by me. So I'm going to insert my little review of this very interesting YouTube channel right here. If you like history, then you're going to love this YouTube channel. Now, I have reviewed this YouTube channel before. It's Tony Robinson's series on history. A lot of it has to do with the UK, but lately I've been watching ones about Australia, and I stumbled across this playlist on his YouTube channel called Time Travels. And just so you know what it's all about, I'm going to play his little trailer right here for you now.
The past has captivated me since I was a boy. Now I travel through time for a living. In this series, I'll seek out the men and women who made a difference.
And so the legend grew.
Sparked revolutions.
That's when the mutiny occurs.
And met adversity head on. I want to shine a light on the moments when history changed forever.
Now, there's quite a variety of videos that he has on here. So if we take a look at his playlists, for example, he has Tony Robinson Down Under, and that series I've been really enjoying because it's basically the history of Australia, and you know I have a love for Australia. But he has other ones about Newcastle, Alice Springs, which is, of course, Australia as well, and other ones about various things around the world, really. So if you're into history, you might want to check this out. And so you will find the link to Tony Robinson's Time Travels in the show notes below, and you'll also find a link for the latest Stephen and Walter live. You know, we never get to the topic that I put in the title. We usually get way off topic and talk about a whole lot of other things, and this past week was no different from that. I talked a lot about what's going on now with my mother's estate. That word estate really gets me. It conjures up millions of dollars. Believe me, it's not. But it's still a rigmarole you have to go through, as I am finding out. Not that this was a shock. I knew I would have to do this, but there is so much paperwork, really. But anyways, we talked a lot about that. We talked about some other things as well. It was quite a mishmash of different things. So if you're interested, you can go to the link that's in the show notes below to catch out Stephen and Walter live, the latest broadcast. There's also a link to The Idiot Quilter, episode 141, and this is where I talk about some problems I've had with a couple of projects and how I solved them. And there is my new series, Musings, where I talk about the whole dilemma of should I sell my quilts? And we actually carry on with that discussion in a little bit more detail on this past week's So Chatty that Walter and I both talked about, should we start a business? And I got a lot of comments from those of you that have already seen that particular video about the pros and cons of doing such a thing, which we really appreciated the feedback. I will tell you right now, spoiler alert, we are not starting a business. But we thought about it. Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week. And in the title, I called this Shop Until You Drop. And I used the same title in this week's Stephen and Walter Live. And the reason I'm coming back to this topic, although we did talk a little bit about it on Stephen and Walter Live, is because exactly that. We only talked a little bit about it. And I want to talk about it in a little bit more detail. I am very worried about this Christmas. In fact, I'm a little bit more worried about this Christmas season coming up than I was about it last year. Last year, we were in shock. We were shut down. We didn't know what route this disease was going to take. We didn't know what was going to happen. So we were all being pretty much very conscious. We stayed away from shopping crowds. We discovered the wonderful world of online shopping like we'd never seen it before. Amazon got a lot of our business along with other online presence. We stayed away from the shopping malls. We stayed away from family gatherings, and that killed us. We look forward to the holidays. Everybody looks forward to the holidays for the most part. And a big part of those holidays is getting together with family and friends. And we just, on the side of caution, we decided not to do that last year. And if you were like me, you probably said to yourself, to make yourself feel better, okay, a year from now, it'll all be normal again. So if we miss just 1 year of Christmas, it's not the end of the world. Well, here we are a year later, and it's worse. It's worse now because we have so much uncertainty in the world. Here where I live, in the province of Ontario in Canada, we have no leadership. Our premier, Doug Ford, has not been definitive about anything. He won't make any decisions, and people and businesses are left up in the air as to what they should do. Businesses are suffering as a result of COVID. We all know that. We would like to support our businesses. It would be nice to go out and do our Christmas shopping again like we used to. But for me, I'm afraid to do that. Numbers are up again with COVID, even though I've been double vaxxed and 88% of our province has been double vaxxed. And the number is slowly, it's creeping at a snail's pace, but going up because we've still got those stupid idiots out there called anti-vaxxers. They're just idiots. And I don't even want to talk about them because it just gets my dander up, you know? Really, it does. But anyways, I don't want to risk it because you don't know where other people have been. And yes, we're wearing our masks, but the stores are really not doing anything about enforcing that. Some are, most are not. I was in a store the other day, a woman was not wearing a proper face covering, and the staff just turned a blind eye. In fact, I brought it up to one of the staff people there, and she said, there's nothing much I can do about it. So, you know, well, yeah, there is. You could do something about it. But this person was just the employee. She said you'd have to see the store manager. And then the store manager tells you you need to go to corporate headquarters because they're just following what they're telling them. Yeah, it's the old pass the buck, right? So I'm not comfortable with that. I mean, you walk into a store and you hear someone with a sniffle or a slight cough and you're going, oh my God, COVID, run away, run away, run away. I mean, they might just have a seasonal cold or something like that, but you don't know. And then, of course, there's the kids, right? And it's Christmas time, and the kids are being dragged out to the stores by people, and they're not vaxxed because they can't be. Not here in Canada yet. It's coming. But even still, it's going to take until into the new year before they're going to be, you know, fully protected. Well, as fully protected as we can be under the circumstances, right? So you don't want to run into that because, as I've said many times before, children are little disease bags. They're carriers. You know, they might get COVID and they might be able to survive it pretty well, but not us older people, right? So no, stay away from me children. I mean, good God, could you imagine being a Santa in a shopping mall? I don't think they're having Santas in shopping malls, are they? Right now? I mean, oh my God, I don't think so. Santa needs to be wrapped in bubble wrap, and each one of those kids that comes to get near him have to be wrapped in bubble wrap as well. I think I saw a thing last year where they were still doing Santa, but Santa was behind a plexiglass barrier and the kid was 6 feet away. Merry Christmas. Yeah. You know, for a little kid, for maybe the first time a little kid gets to see Santa in a shopping mall behind plexiglass, that's a bit of a trauma. don't you think? Of course, maybe if they don't know any better, they think that's how Santa's done. Santa comes in a box. I don't know. But anyways, and then there's the whole question of, do you get together with family this year? Now, I know there are people out there saying, I'm double vaxxed, to hell with it. Everybody in my family's been double vaxxed, to hell with it. We can do this. We're not putting up with this anymore, blah, 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 blah. And you want to know something? I kind of feel the same way. But that's my emotional self speaking. I mean, Walter and I were talking. So, what do we do this Christmas? Do we have people over? Do we go to other people's places like we used to? I know all of my relatives, anybody that I would be seeing, are all double vaxxed. But there are older people in that grouping, which they may be double vaxxed, but at the same time, they have immune systems as well that are not as good anymore. I mean, I'm an older person too, so I could say probably the same thing for myself as well. But I'm talking about some of these people are a good 10 years, 15 years, some cases 20 years older than myself. So, you don't want to be responsible for, unknowingly giving somebody this disease because, oh, we're double vaxxed. It's not a cure, is it? No. And we're still not particularly sure, because the medical community really isn't sure, as to the absolute effectiveness of the vaccine. So I don't know what we're going to do. I really don't. And in my family grouping, there are 2 young children who, although they have been being schooled at home virtually, because their parents, and rightly so, I support their parents 100% on this, they decided, although they could send them back to school, the virtual option was still there for them, and they put them on the virtual option again. Yeah, sure, it's hard. They don't get to see their friends and things like that, but they can make new friends once we're out of this thing, if we ever get out of it. But, they haven't had the vaccine yet either. So although they've been at home with their parents, they're not being exposed to other people. What do you do? What do you do? So what I'm really pissed off, though, about this is again, and I've been pissed off with this since the beginning of COVID, absolutely no leadership out there. Our government could turn around and just say, every Canadian has to be vaccinated. Unless you fulfill the criterion, which is very limited to start with, that you cannot have the vaccine because of a health issue, then you have to be vaxxed. No ifs, buts, or ands. And by the way, those people that have a medical exemption, if you're that susceptible to the vaccine, you shouldn't be going out in public, period, because you have an awful lot of other issues as well. Health issues. But, the government needs to make it mandatory. I think that's the only way we're going to beat this thing. This isn't anything new. We have mandatory vaccines in this country, and we've had them for a long, long time. Kids get them in the early stages of their life. So this isn't anything new. But they need to step up. They've left it to businesses to make decisions for them and other community groups and things like that. So basically there's no consistency. No consistency. And where there is no consistency, where there is no backed up reinforcement of this from the government through our legal system, then basically people do whatever people want to do. And that's what people are doing. And that's why this disease isn't going away, in my opinion. So yeah, are we going to have a Merry Christmas? We are going to try. And when I say we, I'm not just being Walter and I mean everybody else that can hear my voice on this. But I guess, again, it's another year where we have to do things a little bit different. Use Zoom. See your family via Zoom. Yeah, I know it's not the same as being there with them exactly. And for those of you that are the huggy feely type, yeah, you can't hug a computer screen or a television screen. I get that. But we have to do this. We're not out of this thing yet. So I'll say what I said last year. Maybe this time next year. It's only another 12 or 13 months away. A lot can happen in 12 or 13 months. And let's hope what happens in that time period is positive and not negative. But you can bet it's going to be more negative if we let our guard down and don't follow precautions. So, have a Merry Christmas. Okay, moving on. Product review. Well, I did buy a few things. I bought some more filament for my 3D printers. Well, that goes without saying. I bought a microphone. I don't know if they call it a screen or something. I'm sure you've seen them before, where they have this round thing that sits in front of your microphone. And I thought it might give my sound quality, make it a little better. I don't know if it does or not. Supposedly, I read in the instructions when I got it, it wasn't that expensive. I think it cost me like 25 bucks or something on Amazon. It's for pops that come when you say words that start with a P or a B. Now, I haven't noticed that as a problem in my recordings, but anyways, I've got it. It's installed. We'll see if it makes any difference whatsoever. I'm always tinkering with my video and audio settings. I'm not a professional with this stuff, so you might even say it's kind of part of my hobby, I guess, playing with the electronics of making these kind of videos. So I got that. Then I bought a whole pile of quilting supplies, quite a few. And I talked about this yesterday on the YouTube, on the live that we did. And yes, I dropped over $1,200 on supplies. And well, let me just insert a little picture here and talk about that. So here we are. And what you can see here is I have bought a lot of batting. Those big round white things, those are 120-inch wide, commonly known as wide backing batting, on 30-yard rolls. Now, 2 of those I had pre-ordered and paid for, and they came in last week. So I went to the place to pick them up because it wasn't that far from us, about 45 minutes away. So we saved on the shipping. And Walter said to me, it was such a good price for each of those rolls. And it's not like you're not going to need batting. Maybe you should see if you can get some more. He's an enabler. So I asked them, and yes, they did have some more. So I bought, and it's still on sale, so I bought 2 more rolls. Now you're going to ask, well, how much does a roll of this cost? $259 Canadian, $260 Canadian, okay, before tax. That's damn good. Damn good. So I picked up 2 more, and then when I was there, I wanted some wide back fabric. This is what I use on the back of my quilts, and they have a really good selection. So it's not particularly inexpensive. It's about $28 to $32 a meter, depending on which one you buy. And I buy 3 meters of it at a time because that usually works out really well for the quilts I'm making. I may have a little left over when I'm done, but that's okay. I'd rather have too much than not enough. So you can see those 4 pieces of fabric, each are 3 meters. So that's 12 meters of fabric. Then you'll see that there are some little plastic boxes, and those are quilting thread. Glide, that's the thread that I use. And they had these little boxed sets. And so there are 10 spools in each one, and basically you saved about $6 if you bought them that way from buying just 10 separate spools. So, and I like the box. The box came with them. So I bought 2 boxes of those. And then you'll see there are 4 white tubes. Those are Pantographs. And Pantographs, I can show you what these look like a little closer up here. You can see here's the design on them. That's what they'll look like. Those are what I use when I quilt using the system on my Lucy for this. It's a way of cheating on free motion quilting, basically. So I got some of those. And over here, I bought this little device. It was an afterthought. I saw it. It was an impulse buy. And I'm going to talk more about this on the Idiot Quilter this week. And on a future Idiot Quilter, I think I'll do a demonstration of this because this is kind of a cool little device. It makes these kind of patterns that you see shown right here. It's called the Little Twister. And it's kind of neat. So that's what $1,200, actually $1,253 and some odd cents, buys you. That includes the tax. So was that a big splurge? Yes, it was. But I have a little fund to cover things like this. So, and as I said, I'm not going to get batting at that price again for that quantity, probably in quite a while. So I'm well stocked up now with batting, as you can see. Okay, so did I buy anything else? Well, don't tell Walter, but I've been purchasing some of his Christmas presents. And that's all I'm going to tell you about that because he sees this as well. And, well, say no more. Okay, so that takes me to the 3D corner. And what have I been working on? Well, let me grab these and just show them to you. Now, as I speak, in the background, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but you might hear the occasional little squeak or the sound of fans because I've got all three 3D printers working right now. This microphone is supposed to filter a little of that out, so I don't know if you can hear it or not. I'm actually hoping you can. But what have I been making? I've been making angels. Why? Because I can. So here's one. She's cute. And here's another little angel. He's cute. And then I have these, which I'm not really sure. Walter says they look like scoops. But more angels. I've got 3 of these, actually. These are 2. I'm trying to get them even here. And right now, on the printer over there, I have 3 more. I'm not going to move the camera because I'll never get it right in the right position. But I'll show this to you next week. But, yeah, so what I'm thinking of, these are more Christmas decorations, and I might do a little angel display or something on levels, or just set them around, with my other Christmas decorations. I don't know yet. It's 3D printing. I just make things. So that's a lot of fun. Somebody asked me yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live, they'd really like to get into 3D printing, and they want to know, what was a good machine to buy to get into things. Well, I've only have one machine. I have 3 of them, but they're all the same machine, the Corunda Ender 3 version 2. And I have to say that I really like those machines. Now that I have pretty much got them figured out. They're not a plug-and-play device. No 3D printer is. You have to be prepared to, first of all, get into a very steep learning curve with them. There's going to be a lot of frustration with any 3D printer that you purchase. There are tricks you have to learn, and you have to figure out how to basically replace parts on them as well, because they do go. All of those things can be done, but it takes time and it takes patience to learn. I've had a 3D printer now for a year, and boy, has it been a year. It's been a year of trials and tribulations, tears and fears, and a lot of happiness and joy as well. And I have learned a great deal about this form of technology. So my recommendation, just based on the only one I've ever owned, is if you want to get into this, but you don't want to invest a lot of money, buy a Corunda Ender 3 version 2. There are tons of resources showing you what to do when you run into a problem, or with suggestions and ideas on how to make your pieces that you want to make. And you do have to realize there are limitations to 3D printing because they are not plug and play. The technology is still new enough that they are still developing it. It gets better all the time. But if you want to have a challenge and a little fun, then sure, I would suggest the Ender 3 for that kind of thing. And I am not sponsored by Cruelty at all. Nobody sponsors me. Don't know what that says. Okay, so that takes us to another little travel video that comes from my videos that I made when last time we went to Australia in 2019, just before all hell broke loose. And this was fascinating. This is still Cairns. And we went on something called the Corunda Railway Tour. And you're actually on a train, and it takes you through some very scenic country. And it was great. It was a wonderful tour. It was about a half day long, and you get a real feel for the scenery in this area of Australia. So I'm going to insert that little video clip here for you now.
So we're sitting in our hotel this morning at about 7 o'clock waiting for the bus to come pick us up for the tour we're going on today. And what is the tour we're going on today, Walter?
The Corunda Railway.
The who?
Corunda Railway.
Okay, so that's where we go down on a train.
Rainforest tour.
Oh, okay. So that's what we're waiting for right now. We just had a bus pull up that we thought was ours, or might have been ours, but it was early. But it wasn't it, so that's okay. So let's see what we see today. Scenic railway station. And in about half an hour or so, we take the train and go up into the gorge up in there. So we got some time to kill here. So let's see what we see. There's where we're going. So we're going up there somewhere. So I guess that's the train. Oh, that's not the train. Okay, this is not the train. The obligatory gift shop. And here's something you should never leave without: a disposable bullshit bag. So as we wait for the train, we're having a cappuccino. Kind of different. Usually you see us having a beer. It's too early in the morning for beer. Taking pictures everywhere. He has a little banana nut loaf as well, as he keeps kicking the table trying to knock my cappuccino in my lap. And here comes the train.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, for your safety, please stand well behind yellow safety line when the train comes to a complete stop. Thank you.
front of it. And we're heading up to the top of this.
carriage crosses the bridge, look back and you may be able to obtain another great photo of the falls. In 1890, then Governor of Queensland, Sir Henry Norman, visited the site and a banquet was held in his honour in the middle of the bridge. John Locke had the men lifted so they wouldn't fall through, put up rails so they wouldn't fall off, and erected canopies so they wouldn't get wet. Noises of water rushing over the falls at the time caused all speeches to be cancelled. So there was just one toast to the governor. One could say a perfect combination. Sections and the largest cutting along this line. This was the most difficult section for the workers to excavate. Men were suspended down by ropes to dig away the cuttings. However, the rock face was unstable, and as the men made progress, the slope would slip and work would be lost. John Robb had his men dig well into the rock face until a solid foundation could be found. This created the distinctive scar that is a landmark today. As we leave Stony Creek Gorge and enter Barron Gorge, you will notice magnificent views towards Cairns and the coast. into number 15 tunnel, the longest of the tunnels on the line at 429 metres, and by far the most difficult to build. Construction of this tunnel took over 2 years and was delayed when 7 workers were injured during a cave-in. To make up for lost time, John Robb had his men work on 8 tunnel faces at once. Gangs of men tunneled in from the mountain face and worked on digging sections of the main tunnel. Without modern survey equipment, it was a remarkable achievement to join all 8 tunnel faces.
And over there on the other side is where we'll be getting the gondola. That'll take us back down to where we catch the bus back to the hotel later today. Oh look, it starts to rain again.
So that takes me to events in the past week. Well, most of it was tied up with bankers and lawyers. I had a meeting at the bank to basically make my mother's accounts. My mother's accounts are now frozen. They've been transferred to what they call an estate account, which essentially means that right at this moment in time, I can't touch that money. Although I'm executor of the will, I cannot touch that money until everything goes through probate court. And that was the other meeting with the lawyers. But back to the bank. It's a stupid system most of these banks have here in our country. In a day and age at one point in time, you could just walk into the local branch of your bank, speak to somebody, and get whatever you needed done. But now you have to call a central number and make an appointment. You tell them what you want, they make the appointment for you, and then you show up. So that's what I had to do, and I did. And I walked in, and the woman I saw said to me when we sat down, "So, could you tell me, please, why you are here?" I'd gone over this with a guy on the phone. He sent me a transcript kind of our conversation with all the things I needed to bring to do what we needed to do with this. I assumed that that was going to go to the person that I had the appointment with. Apparently, it did not. But, however, she was brought up to speed very quickly, and away she went to do what she needed to do. So in about half an hour, we had everything signed, sealed, and almost delivered. I'm waiting now, I think, for some things that have to come from the central office of the bank that I need to sign and then take back into them. So, okay, so in the meantime, that money is now frozen. Fine. I knew that's how it works, so I'm not that concerned about it. It'll eventually be released, and I will distribute it between my brother and sister and myself, and we go on our merry way. We have our inheritance. So then I had to go see the lawyer, and God, lawyers. First of all, I walk in the place. Now, this isn't the first time I've been at the lawyers, but I was seeing a different person for this. I'd been dealing with a law clerk. Now I was dealing with a lawyer who specializes supposedly in this kind of thing, probate law. Okay, great. I had some more forms I had to sign. Well, yeah, the forms basically said that it was a contract, that their fee was $3,000 to do this, plus any other incidentals and stuff like that. And, you know, that I agreed to pay this, blah, 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 blah. If I want to cancel the contract, they want to cancel the contract, blah, 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 blah. All kinds of legalese. You know, isn't that ironic? The first thing I get to, I have to sign for them before I can even sign the papers to do the probate stuff is their fee structure. We should all be lawyers because, quite frankly, they do very little and get paid big bucks for it. For stuff like this. We're not talking criminal court here. This is paperwork. This is government paperwork that they're basically doing. And I sign my name. They're already pre-printed, whatnot. They fill in a date. They sign their name. Wow, $3,000. Okay, wonderful. Certainly not what I made as a teacher. Oh, yeah. I know. I already said it last week. Yeah, they have a great deal of education. No, they don't. Let's get real. Most of us have an education. I have 3 damn university degrees to do what I do. I probably have more education than a lawyer. Yeah, they have to know the law. They have to learn how to read it. Well, yeah, I had a lot of specialized things I had to do too because I was also a professional. But, you know, whatever. So in the next life, I'm going to be a lawyer and make big bucks. But anyways, for very little work. And also, just an aside, what really annoys me about when I go into the lawyer's office, you're put on hold by the receptionist. You start to talk to her when you come in and go, "Hi, how are you? My name is," and suddenly the phone rings, she picks it up immediately and has a 20-minute conversation with somebody on the other end of the line. You know, when I call places, I get put on hold. Yeah, I'll get to you in just a minute, please. Fine. Well, this one doesn't do that. And then you sit in a waiting area or they put you in a room. And, you know, I have an appointment at 10 o'clock. I'm on time. I was early. I want to make sure I was on time. Time is money. Right? Well, what's the lawyer doing? I can hear them all in their back room having coffee and laughing. Oh, okay. And then the young fellow who came in, he didn't seem to be completely sure about what to do with all the forms. He knew I had to sign these and that, but he didn't know whether I should get a copy of them or not. So he had to go and check on that a couple of times. Yeah, I'm so impressed. It's imagine. Geez, maybe if I paid $10,000, I'd get better service. Yeah. But anyway, so that took up a lot of the week last week. Also, I got to pick up my mother's ashes. There's a thrill, isn't it? You know, I've said before, I was wondering, when am I going to get these? I want to get my mother in the ground, okay? And as an aside, again, an aside to an aside, I am today. Today we are going off to the cemetery. My sister, my brother-in-law, their two kids, my nephew and niece, Walter and I, and we're going to the family plot, which is about an hour and a half or so away from us. I've got it all arranged. The lady who looks after this is going to be there to meet us. Well, she wants to be there so I can give her the check for putting in a hole. And in Mum goes, next to Dad, and we're done. Right now, she's home decor. Well, not really. She's in her urn, and the urn's in an Amazon box. Some way in my twisted mind, there's irony in that, or something like that. You might want to ask, why is the urn in a box? Well, I'm trying to keep it protected. I don't want it falling over. I've seen the movies. Okay. There it goes. Mother becomes part of the vacuum system. So we're not doing that. We're being very careful. But the thing that pissed me off about the funeral service place is, over a week ago, I went in for the aftercare meeting. And there's some more forms you fill out or sign and everything and blah, blah, blah. And we're all finished that. And I think I did tell you this. The guy gets up and, well, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. And I said, by the way, where's my mother? I thought I was going to get the urn today. Oh, has this look of surprise on his face. Whoa, isn't that surprising that, someone might want the ashes? So he went out to check and he says, yeah, not quite ready yet. Kind of like a turkey in the oven. Another hour to go. I don't know. I'm sorry if you find my sense of humor right now a little morbid, but that's how I handle these things. So, yeah, anyways. So he said, yeah, we'll give you a call when you come and pick them up. All right. Call never came. I finally, 1 week later, on this past Wednesday, I called them. And of course they said, oh, just a second. We'll check. They came back and go, yes, anytime you'd like. Everything's ready. And I said, okay, I was supposed to get a phone call about that. Oh, I apologize for that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, great. I just dropped $7,000 on this, and you think? So in we went. We got Mum. Had to sign some more forms, because we had to take delivery of the ashes. And I don't know, but do just random people walk into a funeral home and pick up somebody's ashes that they don't know? That would be sick. So anyways, I signed all that. And then she takes a look at me and she says, can I help you out with that? Do I look decrepit? No. I said, nope, I brought a box. Picked up the urn, took it out to the car, packed it in the box, away home we went, and now Mom is sitting on the bistro table in the rec room. Yeah. So, at least I have her, and at least it's not snowing today, and it is a bit frosty, and we only had 1 more week before they close up the cemetery, and then I wouldn't be able to, do this until next spring. So off we all go to drop her in the hole. Because that's essentially what you're doing. So anyways, yeah. And that's one more thing off my list of things that I have to do. Okay, so did anything else exciting happen in this past week? Well, Walter cooked. Yes. He made ossobuco. If you don't know what that is, it's basically stew, but it's made with veal. A veal shank, actually. To be honest, ossobuco is one of those things that I would never order in a restaurant because they charge you an arm and a leg for it, and really, it is just peasant food. That's how it got started, People were just taking baby cows and chopping them up with some carrots and some onions and making a stew out of it. But now it's called ossobuco, and that's worth at least $25 at a restaurant. So anyways, Walter made this. And I've got a little video showing you the process.
So, Wally's cooking again. So, What you making, Wally?
My version of ossobuco.
Ossobuco. And what's in ossobuco?
Well, almost the same stuff as beef bourguignon, only it's got tomato sauce. It's got tomatoes in it and veal shanks.
And veal shanks. And so those are veal shanks right there. And I see you got out the trusty Instapot. And you're doing it in the Instapot. So basically this is what? A veal stew.
Yeah, more or less. With a tomato-based veal stew.
Tomato-based veal stew. Okay. And what are you going to serve it with?
Probably noodles. So normally they serve it with polenta.
Oh, yeah, I don't
Or-
like polenta.
Or risotto. Or mashed potatoes.
Or mashed potatoes. I prefer the noodles. So, we'll come back when this is cooked and see what it looks like. And here's the finished product. This is ossobuco with the sauce and on egg noodles. And there's extra sauce and more ossobuco there. And so this is basically a type of veal stew of sorts. A little different from a stew though. And yeah, doesn't it look delicious? And Walter's got something in tinfoil. I think he has. What do you got in the tinfoil?
Garlic bread.
Garlic bread. That's what that. So that's what's for dinner tonight. Wally cooks. So what's coming up? Well, I already told you about my big event today. Yay. Taking Mom and putting her in the cemetery. Okay, there's a thrill. And nothing else really coming up much this week. I do have my Lone Star class. And I showed yesterday what the Lone Star is starting to look like, the blades of the Lone Star. And if you're interested, you can check that out. I'll probably be talking about it in more detail tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter as well. So if you're interested, you can tune in for that. And, advance notice. There is a link in the notes for this. It's creeping up really fast. Craft and Chat for December. Now, the first Wednesday of the month in December falls on December the 1st. So that's why it seems like it's coming pretty fast. And it's always fun. So now some of you have given me your email address, and I will send you out a reminder with the link at the first of next week for that. But and if you'd like to be on that mailing list, just send me your email address and I will add you to it. But I do put it in the show notes of everything that I produce this week and at the beginning of next week. So the link is there as well. And don't worry, if you send me your email address, I'm not going to send this out to anybody else. I won't be using it for anything else except for Craft and Chat, and that's it. So I do respect your privacy because I would like my privacy to be respected in circumstances like that as well. So, okay, so that's coming up Wednesday, December the 1st, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Work on anything you want to work on. Come join us. It's fun. Okay, so do I have anything else to tell you? Nope. I guess not. So that's the end of today's vlog. So I hope you have a really great week. And to Americans out there, happy Thanksgiving. I know that comes up at the end of the week. And of course, even though we are Canadian, we know a lot about American Thanksgiving because then comes Black Friday and then we're into the Christmas season full on, right? So, yeah, have to start thinking about decorating the house for Christmas. And that'll be coming up too soon. Okay, have a good one. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.